when the Abbasid revolution happened in 749, they killed all the members of the Umayyad family, of the Umayyad dynasty. All of them, they were wiped out, except one young boy called Abdurrahman. And Abdurrahman, with his younger brother Yahya and his young son Suleiman and his sisters, and also with one former Greek slave called Badr, they fled Damascus when all the family members were killed, butchered in the Abbasid revolution of 749, 750. And he fled following the Euphrates River. His story is remarkable. It's one of the most epic stories of survival because he fled on the Euphrates River. And it would remind you of people like Harriet Tubman, that amazing American African woman who was sold into slavery, and then she escaped slavery and she followed the Northern Star, traveling back and forth, saving these African slaves sold into slavery, rescuing them. But she used the Northern Star as a kind of a milestone, as a guiding post. Abdurrahman had the Euphrates River. We're reminded of those two young girls who followed the rabbit-proof fence in Australia, the Aboriginal girls, and all they had to follow was a rabbit-proof fence. All Abdurrahman was focused on is following the Euphrates River, and they followed it along. But the Abbasids sent mercenaries trying to find them, trying to catch them. At one point, therefore, he realized there's no use taking his sisters with him, so he left his sisters behind, left his young son Suleiman behind, and it was him, his younger brother Yahya, and the former Greek slave Badr that went along in the Euphrates River. At one point, the mercenaries were close, they were closing in, and so they plunged themselves in the river and swam along. But Yahya, the younger one, wasn't a very good swimmer, and he realized he had to swim back to shore, which he swam back to shore, and they were waiting for him. And in the presence, Abdurrahman saw this happening. He witnessed the execution of his brother as a warning sign that that's awaiting Abdurrahman also. In any case, Abdurrahman and the Greek slave Badr, the former Greek slave Badr, they got back to shore and they were safe for that moment. It took then Abdurrahman years to travel along. He traveled through Palestine, the Sinai, Egypt. Egypt was terribly difficult for him because of a man called Ibn Habib. Ibn Habib was the governor of East Africa, and he was once upon a time quite loyal to the Umayyads, but he switched sides, and he would send his mercenaries to try and find this red-haired young man called Abdurrahman. In one very dramatic incident, in fact, Abdurrahman found a safe haven, small one, with a Berber chieftain who was loyal, to the Umayyads, and he was sympathetic to their sacrifice and their struggle and difficulty, and so he kept them in the tent. The mercenaries came in; they came inside the tent, and it's reported that the Berber chieftain's wife Takfa hid him under her own personal belongings. Again, it was a close shave, and he survived that. Allah saved him. And then he carried on moving. It took him until the year 755, that's 5 years from the fall of the Abbasids, or fall of the Umayyads, until he gets to Quetta. Quetta is northeast of the Maghreb, of North Africa. And when he's there, he sends his servant, the former Greek slave Badr, to cross the Straits of Gibraltar and to get into Andalus and ask them what the situation is like and if they would welcome Abdurrahman in as the rightful heir to Umayyad power. He, by the way, was the grandson of Hisham ibn Abdul Malik, the 10th Umayyad Khalif. Therefore, he had a right to continue power based upon the way that they would do things at that time, with monarchs. And so he sent him. He came back and he gave him the news that it's in quite disarray. Yusuf al-Fihri is there, and there's dissolution, and there's problems, and there's division, but that they would welcome his entrance. And so therefore he arrived and he landed in Al-Munakkar in September 755, and he became the first ruler, the Umayyad ruler. The transfer of power had taken place when he arrived there. What's amazing, however, is that Abdurrahman, Saqr Quraysh, given the title of the Falcon of Quraysh, Falcon, he traveled all that way in disguise, hiding himself, escaping the Abbasid mercenaries, gets there. Now, what is his role? It's an amazing story, because what happened is that young boy, that young man, 25 years old at this point, had the task of trying to implement something in this great land of Al-Andalus that had resonations with Umayyad greatness, and all they could refer back to was that great Khalif Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullah alayh. And the reminder was there that he came to power and he said, وَلِّيتُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَسْتُ بِخَيْرِكُمْ مَا أَنَا إِلَّا رَجُلٌ مِّنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. I am appointed over you, but I am not the best of you. And I am only a man from amongst the Muslims. And that was the first indication or sign that there could be potential greatness in this great land of Al-Andalus.